number 25, last week's feature winner, Kevin Buck. The 09 is driven by Greg Peters in the number 24, Tom Reed. Chicken flag is out. Ed Gillette on the half car over Ryan Shepard. Greg Peters in third, Bob Collette in fourth. Nice to the point stand right now. Here comes the 09 back hard on the outside. Greg Peters trying to mount a challenge once again.
Legacy. Defined as something transmitted or received from an ancestor or predecessor from the past. But it feels more than that. Legacy feels like a monumental mark left behind. It's earned. A mindset or feeling that transcends time. Something so profound that it could be described as
Grand National. For more than 50 years, Grand National Greg Peters devoted his life to racing in the state of Maine. Once the young man from Westbrook, Greg pounded the pavement behind the wheel at Beech Ridge. He was fierce, competitive, and relentless.
that spirit translated to his next chapter. Crew chief and mentor. Helping became his mission. He'd look to help the younger generation of racers who possess similar qualities to him. Family focus, unbreakable work ethic, and passionate dedication for success.
Small changes here and there, some short run stuff, and we'll see what we got for tomorrow. But right now it's just myself and my parents, so we're doing everything we can, just the three of us, and it's been pretty fun today so far.
Johnny Peters to the inside, he'll pick up third position.
What's your name and what was your relationship with Greg?
Gary Babineau, and Greg was my uncle.
How did your Uncle Greg help you in racing?
John, where to start? He was the leader for us in everything that we did. You know, Greg's famous saying, you know, how bad do you want it? For us, you know, he knew how bad we wanted it, or he wasn't going to be there, right? We had to eat, sleep, and drink it. The saying he had for us was, there's no such thing as close enough. Every hour of every day he was there for us to teach us, if we were willing to learn. And if we weren't willing to learn at his level, he'd let us know. And for us it was, you know, 2, 3, 4-hour scale sessions. Back then in a Wildcat that most guys never unloaded off their trailer. That was his work ethic. That's what he taught us. And that's what we continued to carry on right up till this past weekend when we ran at the Oxford 250.
My name's Evan Bollier. Greg was my crew chief, he was my spotter, and most importantly, he was a good friend.
When did he start crew chiefing for you?
2013, my first rookie year of pro stock racing. I was driving a car for Dan McCaig and the McCaig family, the Naughty 40 racing team. And the car was actually right here at Greg's shop for most of that season.
Right here in Westbrook, Maine?
And right here in Westbrook, Maine.
How did that come about? How did Greg start to help you with your pro stock with the Naughty 40?
So I met Greg through John. John and I kind of were friends. John's a little bit younger than me, but we ended up becoming friends, racing up through the same ranks and stuff. So knew him from go-karting and racing online mostly. And I lettered John's race car in 2012 through my company Nitro Designs. Did it right here at the shop, befriended the family and Greg. And once Greg heard that I was going pro stock racing, for whatever reason, he wanted to help. And the McCaigs dropped the car off here and he got it ready for what was supposed to be my first start in 2012.
Did you expect that? Like, where did that come from?
It came out of nowhere. I didn't know Greg very well. Like I said, John and I were friends online, you know, buddies racing online for the most part.
When you first started working with Greg here in the shop, what was the first memory you have of him working here?
Just the way that he was able to make you feel like you were family to him. That was some of my first memories working on the car here. But he he worked on our car night and day. He was messaging me all the time, about questions. Hey, have you thought of this? What are we doing about this? Just a lot of that at the start.
What is your name and what is your relationship with Greg?
My name is John Peters, and Greg was my father.
How did Greg help you in racing?
He helped me in every way in racing. He was my first crew chief. He's my first mentor, coach. He taught me how to work on things, be a mechanic, taught me how to think, do strategy. Gave me tips on how to drive as well. So, I mean,
Did you really listen to his driving advice?
Yes and no. Some things I did. He was big on momentum in a race car. There's a couple things specifically. He liked to, like, I can hear clear as day him telling me to let it roll. That was his favorite phrase. Keep your foot off the gas in the center of the corner. Let it roll, let it roll. He'd tell me that on the radio. That was his thing, especially when we raced Oxford. He was big on momentum. So I did listen to that. That was very helpful for the flat tracks. So Beechridge and Oxford, that was ingrained in me, was let it roll. I felt like he gave me some of the basics. He taught me, you know, he gave me the boundaries, and then I had to fill in the middle. So I think that was most of it. There were some things that he did that I thought I could do a little bit differently, especially when...
Differently or better?
I thought they'd be better. He also really enjoyed leaving some throttle in the corner, not fully lifting off the gas, but just leaving a little bit in there. I didn't really like that at all until I had a really fast car at Beechridge at 2018, 2019, and I had a car that would actually do that. And then I thought, okay, maybe he was half right about that. So it was, you know, a little bit of a combination. He was very active on the radio, but he never told me to do anything I shouldn't do. He just tried to coach me through races quite a lot. He would keep me motivated and up on the wheel. And earlier in my career, I needed that, but later in my career, I did not need that, especially at Oxford when he would tell me often to dig hard. And, you know, I'm like, no, if I dig hard, we're going to go backwards. So a little half and half.
There was a personal side, too. Greg was a beloved and just as stubborn husband, brother, son, father, uncle, and grandfather.
She is ready for her first day. Back up. And Elizabeth, and Alicia, and Heather's hand.
I keep going.
Hello.
Want you guys to turn around? Good morning. Heather and Elizabeth, turn around.
Turn around, Heath. Bye.
Hi, I'm Heather, and I am Greg's daughter. My dad, Greg, was a man of many layers that softened with each year, and that's my favorite thing about him. Every year, he just showed more and more of who I think he truly was, and I don't know, I guess that's how I describe him. I like to say my kids got the best version of him. Yeah, so like my greatest memories of him at this point are once I had my own kids and I got to see him be their Pepe, seeing the absolute softest side of him, cuddling with them, putting on Sesame Street on his laptop, which would normally have racing videos or loud 80s bands playing, but when the kids are around, it was Sesame Street, watching with them, or laying on the floor playing with them is such a wonderful memory. Things that I might not have grown up with, but I don't care because they got to experience that side of him, which means everything.
Yeah, I think you have a very unique relationship with him.
Yeah.
Where there were some race days, I'm sure, involved in your relationship, but he was really dad at home for you and Pepe to your kids.
Yes. I think I absolutely had a different side of him, a unique side of him, a side of him that majority didn't have because I was pretty removed from the racing world, which at times I felt like I, should have been more involved, but again, like reflecting, looking back, I think it's special that I got the dad in him wholeheartedly, 100% removed from the competition.
Hi there. Thought you said it was gonna be nice and sunny.
My name is Gail Peters, and I was married to Greg for almost 33 years.
Describe Greg as a husband.
He loved racing. No, I know. He was warm, supportive. Just a good guy. Loved to take care of things, take care of this place, take care of us.
What do you miss the most about Greg?
Hugs, holding hands, he was that kind. A lot of people aren't like that anymore, but we would hold hands wherever we went, and the companionship and just doing things with him.
What's something about John others may not know?
That's a very good question. He's very much like Greg in his speaking, in his confidence, his personality, but he's a lot like me with methodical spreadsheets and everything else that he does. So what people wouldn't know about him, that's a tough one.
What do you miss the most about Greg?
I miss my dad. I think I care more about that than all the racing stuff. In the last 5 years of his life, our relationship changed quite a lot. He was very abrasive for my first 18 years. Just like tough nut to crack, had the facade up quite a lot.
Why do you think he was like that?
I think his focus was on, he was very competitive, extremely competitive. So I think his focus was on competition, and he wanted to be the best and good. And he was very patient with our struggles in racing for the few years prior to that. And I think that just overwhelmed him and bled into his personal life. And that's all he was so focused on making things better and making my racing career better that when it didn't happen, he was just an upset person in general. So he was just hyper fixated, I think, on performance and racing and competition. And it was hard to break those walls down and, have a more affectionate father during that time. As much as we tried to separate the two things, it was still hard. We'd go to family gatherings and just talk about racing. We would come back early from vacations to work on the race car. We would drive to dinner and in the car and at dinner talk about racing. There's just no way to get away from it. But when I moved to college, that seemed to really change. I think we spent time away from each other, and that was eye-opening, I think, for both of us. For me, I was out living life for the first time and enjoying freedom and he was sitting here without us going racing every weekend, and I think he probably started to realize that there were going to be more important things in general, and those moments were more precious than he'd given credit for, and I did too. So by the time I came back and we started racing a more limited schedule, our relationship just changed a lot. And so I miss how proud he was of me as a person in those last few years. The moments of just walking up and giving me a hug because he missed me. The conversations changed a whole lot after that. And I do miss that quite a bit. I feel like we really hit our stride as our relationship changed in the last few years, and I would love to have that back.
At age 67, Greg's race of life took an unexpected turn when he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, weeks following the 2020 Oxford 250. Despite his hardest fight and that same never-dulling competitive drive, the young man from Westbrook took his final checkered flag on July 14, 2021, surrounded by loved ones.
Greg's monumental mark would not end there. 2 months following his passing, the Peters family announced GNG's gift, the Greg Peters Memorial Sponsorship, awarding merit-based funds to up-and-coming New England racers.
Since then, GNG's gift has awarded over $23,000 in sponsorship to racers who have earned it. Garrett Lamb, Bobby Timmons, Kate Ray, and Brandon Johnson have been named to an exclusive group after demonstrating just how bad they wanted it.
Today, the program will announce its final set of winners, completing a mission of extending the name Greg Peters. But it won't end there. After all, a legacy is earned.
A legacy transcends time.
A grand national legacy.